Welkom bij Alles op tafel. In Alles op tafel praten we met humor en zonder poespas over alles wat komt kijken bij het leiden van jouw authentieke leven. We praten uit ervaring en zonder maskers, ofwel alles kan en mag op tafel. Centraal staat een thema en regelmatig hebben we inspirerende gastsprekers. Hiermee willen we jou inspireren je eigen supervette, dikke, bezielde pad te bewandelen. Wauw, zeg hé. Yes. Hoeveelste keer is dit dat we de podcast doen?
Echt gewetensvraag. Ik denk de rond de 22e keer.
22,
ja,
hè?
Zoiets.
Bizar.
Ja, we hebben er nu 17 online staan, nog een paar op de plank liggen. Dus ja, super.
En het wordt steeds leuker.
Het wordt steeds leuker.
Ja. Het grappige is dat ik was van de week zat ik in de auto.
Ja.
En toen had ik een podcast teruggeluisterd. En toen belde ik jou ook. Toen zei ik van, het is toch echt geweldig dat je gewoon je eigen podcast in de auto, onderweg naar vrienden, dat je toch 1,5 uur in de auto zit, dat je dat kan terugluisteren.
Ja.
Ik vind het echt een feestje.
Ja.
En het leuke is, dat mogen we de luisteraars ook al verklappen, dat we binnenkort met iets heel speciaals komen. Hè? Ja, we zijn het hele concept aan het uitschrijven. En dat wordt een hartstikke mooi iets.
Ja, iets nieuws. Leuk.
En over iets nieuws gesproken. Vandaag gaan we ook iets nieuws doen. Dat is voor ons weer out of de comfortzone. We hebben vandaag de eerste keer een podcast in English.
In English,
in
yes.
English. Jouw Engels is heel goed. Je hebt bolhoed.
I already completely forgot that we have to talk English straight away. I mean, because, I have a lot of friends who don't speak Dutch. And they're so happy, like, finally, it's going to be a podcast in English.
Finally, yes, finally in English.
So thank you for reminding me. Yeah.
So is it good to just start right away and ask our guest of today who she is?
What's your name?
Hello, my name is Jenny Schoenmann.
Schoenmann? Or?
Oh, it's such a German name. Schoenmann.
I
think you would say Schoenmann.
Schoenmann.
Schoenmann. Yes.
How old are you?
I'm 42.
Cool. And where do you live at this moment?
I live in Den Haag since already 5 years now.
All right. And how come?
Before The Hague, we lived in the Middle East, and my husband is an engineer.
All
And
right.
before the Middle East, we lived in Cologne. That's also where we met. And
he's from Germany?
He's from Germany too, yes.
Yeah. And you both come from Cologne?
No, I come from a little bit more away from Cologne. That's Dortmund.
Ah, yeah.
And
Borussia.
Borussia Dortmund, yes, please. Yeah. So I grew up with soccer.
Great.
Yeah. So
I like the football stadium of Borussia Dortmund. I went there one time when they were playing against AC Milan.
Yeah.
And this whole part behind the goal is really like yellow jumping.
Yeah,
great.
It's really crazy. It's really crazy, and I have been also there a couple of times, and it's such a special energy, and it's so amazing because people from all kind of jobs and backgrounds come together, and they're celebrating together.
Yeah.
It's really nice, as long as you wear the black and yellow color, please. If you wear another color, then we're not celebrating with you. That's I'm sorry.
Okay, but you were talking about Cologne, and your husband is an engineer.
He's an engineer.
What kind of engineering?
He is working in sustainable energies.
Wow.
So he's doing very interesting things at the moment. And because he is in home office since March, I know everything about cow poo and chicken poo and how to make energy out of it.
Oh, wow.
I know everything about recycling now. I'm an expert on that.
Yeah. It's kind of also the side effect of working at home. It's funny that you mention it. Okay.
But can you tell a little bit about?
No, we're not going to talk about cow
We're
poo.
going
Off. Sorry.
We're
gonna have another talk with your husband another time.
So curious about how you put energy out of poo. Your mother and your father.
My mother and my father, they are both entrepreneurs, just like I am.
Wow.
And my father is a musician. So he is a musician, and then he has a company who I don't know the English word. Sound engineer. He's a sound engineer.
But
Another engineer.
Yeah, but he's a musician, and does he play like an instrument or?
He plays all kinds of instruments. He can sing, and so he has this company, and then he has people coming there, and he records their singing, and he does if they have big festivals, then he does the sound there. And
He has like a studio with a mixing console and
yes.
in Cologne or
In Dortmund.
in Dortmund. Okay, yeah.
In Dortmund.
And your mother?
Right.
My mother, she has worked with him. She has supported him, and she does the more financial side.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Cool.
So they're a team.
Yeah, great. Is it possible that the people who are listening to the podcast know you from something or from somewhere?
Maybe they know me because I have just published The Magical Morning Method, which is a book and a journal. And maybe they know me from my yoga teachings.
Mm-hmm.
It could be.
Okay.
Great. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. To go out of bed.
Oh no, I got it. Yes, exactly. Yeah. A little different. I hope.
But this is the magical morning method?
Magical morning.
Okay.
If it's really hard to come out of bed in the morning,
Yeah.
then she suggests to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And
Okay. Well, let's talk about this later.
yeah, okay, cool.
Continue.
What is it that you're most? Hoe zeg je dat?
Your biggest irritation.
Nee, blij.
Oh,
Like-
what makes you the most happy?
Oh, what makes me the most happy? The most happy it makes me to see people following their passion.
Okay.
Cool.
And this makes me happy, and it also makes me always cry. It doesn't I don't care what kind of passion it is, of course, as long as it's a passion that's not harming anyone. But this makes me happy. And this makes me also happy because I see this in my kids. They are still that small that they're following their passion. And that makes me happy.
Beautiful.
Great. And then your biggest irritation?
One of my biggest irritation is that we care so less, that we have so often the mentality of whatever, who cares?
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to our environment, this is it also makes me cry to see us. Now I'm living in The Hague, and I do a lot of beach walks in the morning, and I try to collect plastic as much as often. And I see so often people walking, and I see the plastic lying in front of their feet, and they just keep walking. And I'm not saying that they see it and they think, oh, there's plastic, and I just don't pick it up. But it's just for me this disconnect, this how disconnected we are from ourselves, that we don't see those kind of things anymore. And this is what I mean with a little bit this who cares, whatever mentality. And this irritates me a lot. And again, because I have kids and I know how precious it is and how important it is to take care of our environment. Yeah, that's all we have.
Yeah. But for instance, Jenny, when you go to the beach in the summer, there are a lot of people on the beach, and you see everywhere plastic. You pick it up?
I pick it up.
Yeah.
I pick it up, and I have this attitude to pick it up, like looking to these people and picking it up like,
Oh yeah.
A bit like the teacher.
Example.
yeah. And this is not very, it's not helping, this teacher kind of attitude. And what I also sometimes do is that I say, oh, is this your plastic bottle? Please don't forget to, or I pick it up for you. It's not a problem. It's not a problem for me. So I also try to just maybe be an example or be an inspiration and a joyful one. So if we do it like picking up like, then people are just thinking, what's wrong with her? But if I pick it up and do it with joy, then maybe they think, oh, picking up plastic makes you feel so good. I should do that too.
Yeah, I was one time in Papua, Indonesia, on a very small island of Raja Ampat. and a very small island. And also this island was all around full of plastic and dirt and everything. So what we did, my friend and me, we every morning we went for a hike, and then we picked up in a bag all the bottles and all the things which were aangespoeld.
Yeah, they were like
Thrown on from the beach on the beach, you know.
Yeah.
So at the second or the third day, people were just looking over the beach, over the sea, and then at one moment they started hiking with us and just also helping us.
Yeah.
Really great. So
Yeah. And this is the what I call the ripple effect. If one starts something good, it has people feel this energy and they want to be part of it. And that's also what we lived in the Middle East. We had to use a big car. This is what you do there to stay safe. And we were flying once a year, seeing our family. Our family was visiting us. So when we moved to The Hague, we decided we don't have a car. We don't fly only if it's really, really necessary. And it's not, it hasn't been necessary for the past years. But this is also what, if you talk about it and you not try to educate people about it, you just say that this is, it's helping and I feel really good with it, then it has this ripple effect. People think about it. Do I really need to fly? Do I really need to use my car for these 100 meters? And and I know how you felt when you have been on holidays, because this is of course what you do. This is something you don't want. But I wish we all would see how it looks in Indonesia, in Thailand, in India, in Sri Lanka. It's so, it's so sad. And then I really come back to this mentality of whatever. I just turn. And I had this too. I had times, a couple of weeks where I didn't go to the beach here in The Hague. It made me so sad to see it.
Yeah.
I was really dealing the whole day with it, with this disappointment of how we treat our nature. But and also in the first lockdown here, I felt also uninspired and sad and about the whole situation. And I had a walk at the beach, and there was a guy in front of me, and I didn't pick up plastic. I didn't feel like it. I was just like, oh. And then I saw this guy in front of me and he picked up plastic. And then coming back to what makes me joyful and happy, I started to cry and I was so inspired. And I thought, if I'm not inspired at all right now, what I can do is just picking up this plastic, and I felt amazing afterward. Yeah, so that makes me happy, and it's also irritating me at the same time.
Do you still have guilty pleasures in life?
Of course. And I hope we all have. And it's so funny because I got a text from a very good friend. We lived together in the Middle East, in Holland. Now she's back in Canada. I sent a text to her, I miss you. And she wrote back this morning and she said, you're always my reminder to take good care of myself. And Jenny, I do. And especially on the weekend when I have my red wine. And I was like, yes, please. So take good care of yourself and have your guilty pleasures. Mine are... Oh my God, in this yoga Ayurveda world, having coffee is already a guilty pleasure.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
It is. Sugar. Of course, I have chocolate and cake and whenever I like. I have a glass of wine at the weekend.
What kind of wine do you drink?
Red wine.
Red wine, yeah.
Demeter organic red wine from the organic supermarket.
Demeter is
Demeter, yeah.
From the Greek mythology.
No, Demeter is a label only products get who are really organic and yes, it's maybe it's a German label, but you get it everywhere, and then I think then you can be really on the safe side that you're drinking and eating really organic good stuff.
Great. Well, surprise question.
Okay, a glass of red wine or your magical morning method?
Or?
Your magical morning.
Oh, okay. Magical morning.
Yes,
magical morning. It
Yes.
would be weird if I would come downstairs already drunk.
No,
That would be
I'm in the evening, of course. You're bad.
I
Well,
know.
part of your magical morning. Because I think that's, like you said, one of the reasons that we invited you to be our a guest on our podcast show. I met you a few years ago. I followed some of your yoga teachings at Delight.
In The Hague or in Amsterdam?
No, here in The Hague.
Yeah.
And this is how I met Jenny. And I really, for me, yoga is so much more than just doing poses. It's usually more about the verbal guidance you get during the flow. For me, that makes a good teacher.
So she really tells a story and leads you through the poses.
It's more,
and,
it's more than a physical exercise.
Yeah,
it's
great.
it's much more than that. And for me, Heidi is one of those teachers. I know you work with Heidi, and you are as well. And now you wrote this book, so it was like a beautiful moment to have this conversation, and just to. Well, we can start with the book, but I'm just curious because I read something about you on your website, and you're also a soul-based coach, so that kind of resonated with me as well. But maybe it's nice just to start with your new book.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious how like about the process of coming to write a book. I mean, it's quite a step.
Mhm.
So what made you decide writing a book about, well, not about magical mornings, but about routines?
Mhm. Um, it was never that I sat down and decided I have to write this book journal. It was more that through my teachings, I'm also a person who really likes to get in touch with the people afterward and have a chat, and the same for my workshops and my courses, and really know what's bothering them and what drives them and what makes it difficult to stick to their practice. And what I figured out is that we overcomplicate things way too often. We think we have to do a lot and huge big things so that we feel a benefit, and that's not true. And then when I did my magical morning workshops, which is all about morning routines, how to start your day in your best possible way, I felt like I need to give them something afterwards so that they can stick and keep doing what they do. And because I'm journaling also since years, and I always had difficulties to find a journal that's really resonates with me. So then I started to create my own questions. And then I thought, why not giving this to the participants? And then I'm very creative, and then I like to make it very practical. And then I just did it myself, and I wrote some practices in there, and then I printed it, and people really liked it. And Delight Yoga it's a big yoga school, and they have also schools in Amsterdam, and they were also interested. And then I started to offer this there, and then I create a new version and a new version, and then Cosmos saw that, and also Haiti heard so many people talking about it, and then they asked me if I would like to publish this journal, this book.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, of course. I mean, it was funny. I was sitting in this little cafe place at school where all the moms and dads come together before picking up the kids. It was noisy, it was loud, and I got this phone call from the Cosmos, from the publisher. Jenny, we will publish your book. We just we just announced, and everyone really likes it. And then I switched off my phone, and I looked to the moms, and I said, oh, I get published. Just like that.
Great.
And we were just laughing because it was just so funny. And then I really started to go even deeper into that, and I picked only the practice that I find very useful, and also how to make a morning routine sustainable and keep it light, and do it with ease. That's very important to me, because what we don't need is another thing. We don't need another thing we have to do. on
No,
our checklist.
I
Yeah.
understand. I hear you. Just for the people who are listening and have no idea what a journal is, can you
Mhm.
explain it?
Mhm. Okay, so a journal is something you pick up, if possible, every day. And in this journal, there are some questions. There are questions, for example, like, what are you grateful for today? And then you note it down. So you really bring it from your heart on paper. And you do this hopefully every day. And then after a couple of weeks, you have filled the book. And then it's really interesting to go back and go through it. And that way you will learn and know more about you. What is important to you? What are your values? What makes you happy? What irritates you? So those kind of things. So it's a journey. It's a journey on personal growth and
Journal journey. Yeah.
a journal journey. Yeah. And then I also found it helpful to have some simple practices. That's also what I figured out, that we are so busy, and we are not, and also when we say we are so busy, we are busy with important stuff. We all bring value into our days, into this world, and it's a good way of being busy. But then we need practices and tools and routines that allow us to have these little breaks, and they have to be simple and practical.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you've been doing it for years, you said. Yeah.
Yes.
So why did you start writing a journal for yourself? I mean, what was the moment or the for you to start with this?
I think it was for me because when I got my kids, that it was a huge transition, and I had to find myself again. Who am I
Yeah.
as a mom? Because as I told you, my parents have been entrepreneurs. They have always working a lot. My grandma and my grandfather, they all have been entrepreneurs. They have all working a lot. I have always worked a lot. And then I got kids and I had to slow down. And there was really a turning point in my life because I wanted to keep working. I wanted to fulfill my work dreams, but I also wanted to be a good mom. And that's when I started to struggle to keep that balance.
Okay, yeah, beautiful.
But you were telling you have to slow down when you have kids. Well, my experience is that when you have kids, then it's becoming more busy and busy, but not out of yourself, but taking care of other people.
Yeah, I had to slow down in a way of slow down with my work,
Yeah.
doing less, and also slowing down in a way of kids need time, they need attention, and they need presence, and also slowing down in that way. My son, he sometimes tells me a story, and he's 8, and the story is beautiful, but after 5 minutes, it's a little bit like, okay. And this is also a way of slowing down, still being present with this person, because all he needs at this moment is my attention.
Yeah.
So slowing down in that way of relearning to be present with others. Yeah.
Oh, that is nice. Yeah. I'm since 3 years. I'm now doing this enlightenment intensive process. It's I work with people, and the only thing they do is asking the question, "Tell me who you are at this moment." So, and without losing contact with the eyes, with the person which is in front of you, and this is really an interesting process because you learn to listen
Yeah.
and you learn to speak
Yeah.
from your heart, which is
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, really great process.
Yeah.
And just yeah, just for the what I hear.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the same you say.
yeah, same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, I can understand it's a challenge because I'm a child's coach, counselor. Talk a lot to parents that are struggling with the same thing. And therefore also the children with
yeah,
parents who are too rushed. It's always in the end, it's always a discussion about space.
finding a balance between your own goals, but also listening to the people around you, and not only your children, but
And also, what is important to you?
Exactly.
It's very funny because I just wrote a blog article about that. My son, he came home the other day and he said, first thing, you're on the computer again. And he said it in a way that I was like, oh,
oh,
it was was painful. It was really painful, and telling you that my parents have been very busy. I missed them a lot. I have not been a lonely child, but I have been alone a lot. And there was such a great reminder for me what is important to me. And I note this down almost every day on my gratitude journaling. I'm grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for this precious time we have together. So that brought everything back into perspective for me, so that I knew what is important to him and what is important to me. And then it's so easy to say, okay, switch off my computer. That's it for today.
Yeah, so it becomes a reminder for yourself what's important, because usually we get lost before we know. I mean, deep down we all know. We just get lost in the hectics of life, and before you know,
and just go on and
you
on.
get disconnected, like you said.
And that's so interesting what you say, Lotte, because we all know. We know, and this is why we walk through life with sometimes feeling guilty on a very unconscious level, on a very deep level. And we also feel like betraying ourselves constantly. And this is such a weight on our shoulders we have to carry. And this is also why it's so important to do this work we all do to help people to get back with talking. Who are you on your deepest level, and look each other in the eyes and be present, so that this person can really explore, who am I on my deepest level? Am I a rushed person? No, I'm not.
No, and that's for me is the ripple effect, because you just become, without teaching, but just become a mirror for someone else, a mirror, and that is a mirror for who you are truly deep down.
Yeah.
Because usually when things resonate, I mean, it's a sign that it resonates with something deep down. So if you just be yourself in your pure form, you can become the mirror for someone else,
and the other
without
one
knowing.
also for you.
It's very interesting. And you also said about keeping it simple. I think a lot of people are struggling with that, because usually, I think also me, I have a talent to make things complex. So can you tell us a bit more about?
5, 4, 3.
Okay, explain, because I'm
this
curious.
is great. Tell us.
Tell.
So keeping things simple is, I think we struggle with that, at least from my experience, because we are taught that simple is not efficient. We have to consume, we have to do more, we have to push more, so that things are effective and that we are seen. And this is simply not true. And we can just go back on our mat and our yoga practice. And when we feel like we have to achieve a yoga posture, this seems very complicated. We think we have succeeded in some way. And we forgot so often how we feel along that journey towards there. And when I have been there for sure. I have been able to put my feet behind my head and make a britzel completely out of myself. Not very often I felt really great. And then I scaled it completely down. And from my physically body, I very much able to do a lot of things, but they haven't made me feel better. So I scaled down my practice, and I just unlearned everything I knew. And I have started from just moving, for example, seated down and moving from one side to the other, and take a couple of deep breaths. And I felt all the freedom and the peace and everything I was looking for years in my practice, to feel good in my body, to feel worth in my body, to like my body. This all happened to me naturally. And also when we go into meditation, we can get so distracted to find the right way of meditation. There are so many beautiful offers on how we should and could and need to meditate. But why don't we just start and sit and start breathing and being? And this is sometimes that keeps us away from doing profound change in our life because we're always looking for something that someone gives us. I give you this kind of meditation and then there's enlightenment. I give you this posture and then there's enlightenment. I give you this course and then why don't we just start with what we already have? And
So
this,
just be.
just be. So often it is just be. Yeah.
And what about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go?
Yeah, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I read a book a couple of years by Mel Robbins. She is a coach in the US, and she wrote a book, The 5-Second Rule. And this resonated so much with me because she was like, and it's so simple. Again, it's so simple. When my kid's not listening to me, I have this amazing thing I do, which almost never works. I do 1, 2, 3, and then they look at me. And now, mommy? And what can I do? So she says the same. Okay, what do you do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So she says, you do it the opposite way. It's like a rocket ship. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and boom, something has to happen. And you don't even have to be very conscious about it. Your internal system tells you, something has to happen. So when you lay down in bed and you don't want to wake up, you say to yourself, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you will naturally feel a push into or a pull to do something.
Yeah.
The same if you feel you don't want to do this phone call or sending out this email, you just do 1, 2, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then something has to happen. And it will. It's very interesting.
You become your own coach. Because
Yeah.
for me, it's more like it's the voice of the trainer, of the coach who stands beside you telling you, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. You can do this.
Yeah. You just really think of a rocket ship. After 1, something happens. And it has something to do with the prefrontal cortex. So there's some science behind it. But keeping it simple, just give it a try.
Yeah, it was really resonating with me because when I did my Zen training, then we did like a session, which is a week of meditation, standing, getting up very early. So at a certain moment at 4:30, somebody rings the bell and really hard, like ding, 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 ding. And then at this moment, you really had to get up because in 5 minutes, the meditation starts. So this is really like getting into your subconscious as hearing the bell, getting up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost a Pavlov effect.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. It's so hard to do it on your own in the morning, right? If no one is waiting.
In the winter.
No one is waiting with a warm tea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So keeping it simple, journaling. We're talking about your magical morning method.
Do you also go into the sea in the morning?
Oh, good question.
Yeah, I tried. It's not my thing. I wish I could say yes, of course, naked. Because
no,
I'm start running from my house into the sea, run back, and then I start coaching and being no.
Oh, we can fight you this Saturday morning, 9 o'clock.
No, it's a good example that you have to find your own routine.
Yes.
I mean, it works for you. Good for you.
It's only one time, eh? Only one time.
Okay. Yeah, and who knows what's in the sea and all the fishes are there. No.
All the fishes are there.
They're just waiting for my feet to bite in. No.
But Ramon, do you have a morning routine?
My morning routine?
Yeah.
It's always different.
That's also
that's the perfect routine.
It's always different. Yeah. One time I stand up at 7 o'clock, the other time at 6 o'clock, but never at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock is too late for me.
So what happened to this 4:30? Waking up at 4:30?
Yeah, this is with the session, only with the meditation week.
Okay, so what happened when you went back from this meditation week?
Then only a few days, this is in your system. And after this, you're at home, so you sit late and you watch television. So 4:30 is not possible. Only when you go to bed at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Then I have like enough sleep, 7-8 hours. Then I get up at 4 o'clock.
And that's also a good thing to realize, right? If we don't start our morning routine already in the evening, it's so much harder. So much harder if I go to bed at 11 and then I expect to wake up at 5 or whatever time you choose, then it's really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there something else that was really helpful for you in keeping it simple? Because I think a lot of people like to keep it simple. I mean, you just talked about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 or something. Were there other things that were helpful?
I also think we just starting what we eat, keeping things simple in what we eat, not trying to make super complicated dishes. We are so busy in our mind, and when we see it from an Ayurveda perspective, Ayurveda recommends if we are busy already, then we keep our meals very, very simple. And also just the fact that I'm a mom and I'm working, I don't have time for complicated things. And what I understood for myself a couple of years ago, overcomplicating things and not keeping it simple has a lot to do with trying to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I have been a perfectionist, and I know so many of us are, and we keep to unlearn, but we're struggling with this. But being perfect held me back from many things I wished I would have done earlier before.
Maybe I have a very simple question, because I can imagine that a lot of people are listening who do not know the difference between, for instance, the yoga styles that you practice, Vinyasa and Ashtanga. What is the difference for people who are listening?
The Ashtanga practice is a set sequence. So you go onto your mat and you do the sequence up to a specific point. Every day, it's every day the same.
Okay.
And the vinyasa practice is the teacher creates that sequence for you if you are going into a yoga studio. And sometimes it can be focusing on hips, and sometimes it can be focusing on shoulders, and sometimes it can be with music. So it's a more free flow. And what I now teach most of the times, it's more a free flow, but it's not focusing necessarily on one part of the body. I really think that we have took too much time in disconnecting parts of our body. So today I do neck thing, today I do core work, today I do leg work. I think we have to always see ourselves as a whole, and moving from our middle, from our center, and then we take care of the whole body. So all in one approach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about affirmation? I also read in an online part of your book that you're really into affirm yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell, for instance, for people, what can it do with you? What's the positive side of creating your own affirmations?
Mm-hmm. We work actually a lot in soul race coaching with affirmations. Affirmations can show you what you really desire. And very often when I work with clients or when I talk with my friends, we don't allow ourselves to desire something maybe bigger or something more unique or individual that we already living. And in this affirmation,
Because of some of guilt.
Maybe I'm not worth it.
Yeah.
Who am I? Who am I to think I could only work 3 days a week?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I to think I could have this or that job position?
Mm-hmm.
So in this affirmation, we already feel ourselves into this kind of situation. And we do this with taking everything into account, with our circumstances we live in, our family circumstances. And
can you give some examples which are very important affirmations for you or for your family?
A very important affirmation for me is when it comes to my work, I see myself as walking a long path and walking this path with ease. And I have on one hand my family, and on the other hand I have my clients, and we walk along together.
Yeah.
And this is an affirmation that makes me completely grounded and makes me fulfilled and happy. And it's a different thing that what I sometimes feel myself in, that I'm feeling my right arm is almost disconnected from my body because my kids are pulling on it, and my left arm is reaching for clients, for example. So I'm very wobbly on my path. And then I go back to my affirmation. No, Janie, this is not what you're looking for. You are looking to walk in balance and in alignment with your both arms and walking along this. And when I have this affirmation within me and I come back to this more often, then it has an effect on how I move through my day.
Yeah. So, and this is like really a visual, eh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And an affirmation is it not more in words or like?
I think both. I think it's quite
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
yeah.
At this affirmation, it comes with a feeling. And then I can create my affirmation out of this. I can create an intention out of this.
Yeah.
This is how I would like to feel. I would like to feel walking in peace. Today, in for this meeting, I would like to feel being balanced and being grounded.
Yeah.
And this is something, yeah, it's a little flowing into each other. But
So what's happening is that you program your subconscious.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Yeah.
you program, and in this moment, when you're present with it, you feel it and you embody it fully. And then when you move through your day, you're unconsciously, the whole body, the whole cells, everything within you wants to follow up on it. And you take maybe different decisions than you would have done without being aware of that.
And I think it's a more powerful guide, because usually we have the tendency to, if you talk about affirmations or where you want to be, we have the tendency to make it very concrete in the outer world. So my vision for me for the future is, and then it, let's say I have a family, or I'm doing this, or I am there, and it's very limited. But usually it's more about a feeling. How do I want to feel?
Yeah.
So I think it's very powerful to have affirmations or images like that, because it's a beautiful guide, because in the end it's all about form.
Yeah.
You don't have a clue how it will look like.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think it becomes very fluid if this is your guide. And it's a good reminder for yourself. Am I walking the right path?
Yeah.
Is this resonating with this image, this feeling that I want for myself?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And it can be very concrete as well. Just going back to my image of how I want to live my work and my family life, I was struggling about the question, and I know so many do. When you are an entrepreneur and you offer some services, do you put all your prices on your webpage? So a very practical question, and I just didn't know what, and you can ask 100 people, and 100 people have different opinions on it. And I did a session about this, and I really felt myself into that, and I figured out that my prices are on my path. When I walk along, they are not visible, because the clients who come to me, they are really coming to me because they want to make change, and this change is so important to them that money is important, but it's the second thing. First, they are really connecting with me and with my work. And so I can get lots of answers out of these images, out of this feeling. How do I want to feel? And that's so true what you said, Lotte, because we think so often we are working from our logical mind, and we do not. We just do not. We are working and operating so much more from our inner wisdom, from our soul wisdom. And this is affirmations and visualizations, and what you do also with looking each other in the eyes. This is where we tap into this wisdom, and that's from there, when we move and work and talk from there, then we are in alignment with ourselves, coming back to this idea of not betraying, not feeling guilty the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And but it's funny because I'm studying to become a child's therapist, and a part of the study is a lot of supervision and learning therapy, etc. It's a beautiful journey also for myself, and my learning therapist had a beautiful story about guilt. Because at one session I was reflecting on something, and then I said, "Oh, I feel so guilty," and she says, "Oh, good, that's a good sign," because usually we talk about guilt, from get rid of the guilt, blah blah blah, and then she gave me this story. I think it's kind of nice to share. And she used this metaphor, like she was talking about a boy who grew up in Palestine, and he grew up with the idea that when you are 20, you gonna offer yourself, or like a martyr, for the greater cause,
Yeah.
and you're gonna blow yourself up. So he grew up with this idea, and then he became 20, and then he thought, okay, if I'm going to do this, other people will die, innocent people, moms, children. So, and at the same time, he realized, like, okay, but if I don't do this, I disappoint my family, I disappoint my culture. So he was kind of struggling. And then she asked me, okay, Lotte, would you do this right now? Blow yourself up? No. Do you feel guilty? No. So her point was, okay, it's all about background, culture,
Conditioning.
ideals, conditioning. But her point was, why was he feeling guilty? Because he was choosing for himself. He was choosing his own path.
Yeah.
So in that, sometimes it's nice to look at that, to guilt like that, because in my case, guilt was a good sign. Because
Reprogramming.
yes, I'm choosing for myself.
Yeah.
I'm choosing. I'm making other choices that
Yeah.
that
Really
comes from
Yeah.
the heart in
Nice.
this case. So I thought it was a kind of a nice other perspective on guilt.
Yeah, great.
Absolutely. And it's also interesting that you say, and it was a boy, it was a man. And usually we as women struggle, or we think we struggle a little bit more with it, but it's all everywhere. It's all over. We're feeling so guilty for so many things.
Yes.
And I also really think that it always comes back, not always, but yeah, it comes back to our self-worth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then also I'm using this word, and I know, so for so many it sounds like a phrase, but it's not. This self-care is so important. It is so important. Put yourself first.
Yeah.
And just saying that triggers so much in many of us. Ooh, how can I say that? Put myself first.
Yeah.
But you have to put yourself first, and then you can serve wholeheartedly.
America first.
No. Yeah.
No.
And that's why guilt is so interesting. It's so interesting,
Yeah, I know
because
what you mean.
usually
Yeah.
when you choose yourself, guilt comes around the corner,
Yeah.
and it is because
But
you're
really
making
nice.
other decisions.
Very interesting what you're saying
Yeah.
about this boy of Palestine, and what. Yeah, really great.
Yeah, it's so in a way it's a good sign,
Idea.
because you are working on yourself. You are taking probably better care, making other decisions that are better for
Yeah.
yourself, and maybe not what other people were expecting or are wanting from you.
Yeah.
But no, anyway.
I also read about this being guilty. I read this just recently by Gabby Bernstein, and she said, and it resonated so much with me, we so often have the idea that if we take care of ourselves first, we are harming someone else. But that's not true. When we take care of ourselves, we don't harm anyone. We don't take time away from them, or attention away from them. But this is so often, especially as moms or parents, if I take care of myself, then I'm not present enough for my kids. But then also observe the quality of when you are present. Are you really present? Wouldn't you be more present and more relaxed and more at peace if you first would have started your day with the magical morning?
No, but and it's the metaphor that is used for what you are saying, Jenny, is a lot of time it's the airplane. You're crashing. First thing you do,
Yeah.
take care of yourself, that you have oxygen,
Yeah.
and then help your child.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Nice
It's so
metaphor.
simple.
Yeah.
But along the way, we have other.
We forget it.
Yeah, we forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we forget it, or I hear so often, yeah, Jenny, but I can't stay up wake up at 4:30. And then it's always like, no, 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 no. You don't have to wake up at 4:30. Just wake up 5 minutes earlier than your kids or than you usually would. Keep it simple, sit down, get a glass of warm water,
That's wine.
have a little shot in it if that helps, and just sit there, hold it and breathe.
Yeah.
And then no one can tell you, I don't have time for it. It's too complicated. We then just have to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and do it.
It
Yeah.
reminds me of the Kaizen method. It's really taking little steps.
Yes.
Make it so simple.
What is the
Yes.
Kaizen is really the method of, okay, if you want to go from A to B, we have this tendency to focus on B, but it's like an elephant you eat in pieces. You can't just swallow the elephant at once.
Yeah.
So make it simple, make it small,
Mhm.
and really on a level, okay, I want to take better care of myself, so I'm gonna add this cup of tea
Yes.
in the morning, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna start, and when it's part of your routine, then you can add something more instead of adding 10 minutes of yoga, cup of tea, I'm gonna scrape my tongue, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
and it's too much.
It's too much.
And it's logical that you say no.
And then it's also the part of the Kaizen is also, I think, 3 out of 5 or 80% or 60% then instead of 100. And I remember myself when I started something new, I got ready, I got all the groceries and everything what I needed for it. And I prepared everything. And then the next day it was so much. It was so much. So I think that this, what you said, Lotte, these baby steps make them so stupid simple
Yeah.
that it would be just crazy to not do it. Who
Yeah.
can't sit 1 minute in the morning or 2 minutes in the morning?
That's true.
Yeah, baby steps, beautiful. You also said something about soul-based coaching. I'm very interesting because I think a lot of people know coaching, but soul-based coaching is something new to me. Okay, I have an idea. I don't know you, Ramon. Have you ever heard about it? No.
I can imagine, but
Yeah, me.
maybe it's good
I'm very
for the listeners.
curious because can you tell us something about it?
Yeah, soul-based coaching comes from trauma therapy. That's what it was founded first, because they figured out that if you are traumatized, then you speak in pictures, and it's way easier to explain yourself. So in soul-based coaching, we believe that you are whole. You have all the wisdom and all the knowledge within yourself,
including the traumas and
including everything, and everything is part of you and nothing has to be neglected. What we don't do in soul-based coaching is going into any kind of trauma. And I'm also not saying that if you do soul-based coaching, you have to have a trauma. So you can come with just the normal, the normal things to us. So it is the belief that you don't need to be fixed. And it's also the belief that I, as a coach, have no idea. I have no idea what you need. I will not come up with, okay, step 1 is this, step 2 is this, and then step 3 happens. And I also don't know where you want to be. And this is why we use clean language. And it's a lot of what you said, Ramon. It's a lot of being fully present with that person and listening. And we all know this, when we listen to someone, all our own stories pop up. Oh yeah, then you should do this, or you should do that, or no, I know what you have to do. And this is something we don't do at all. We just there and we pick up what you are saying, and then we mirror it back to you. And then we start to ask very important questions. And we only using your words, and this will draw you deeper and deeper and deeper into your own inner wisdom.
So you really connect with the other person.
Excuse me?
You really connect with the other person.
You really connect with the other person. You really connect with the words of the other person. Yeah. And there are two things happening at the same time. As soon as, I mean, we all know this. Sometimes when I tell my husband something, he's not present with me. He's doing his stuff. He's making his coffee. But at this moment, it's super important to me that he listens. I feel horrible afterward when he didn't look at me. But when I ask him, can you sit with me? Can you just sit with me? I don't need you to say anything. Just sit with me and let me talk. And while I talk, I already get so much more clarity and answers just by speaking these words, just letting everything come out of my soul. And this is one thing that happens. And then we as soul-based coaches, then we pick these words that are important, and then we bring you deeper into this. And then you create your desired outcome out of this. What would you like to have happen? That's a very important question. And all of this is, it's a little bit like the magical morning method. I have started with a miracle morning by Hal Elrod. He's an author from the US, also a coach. And he has written a miracle morning, and it was very masculine. It was a lot of, I felt, for me, it was very pushing. It was 100% out of 100% and doing it every morning. So I felt a little overwhelmed and burned out after a while. And the soul-based coaching is inviting the yin energy, the Shakti energy, so that we get back into our flow. And our flow is not only upwards, it is up and down and all the way around. And we have to honor this. And so life is changing. Our life is changing all the time. So we always have to go back. What would I like to have happen? And this question is a beautiful question, but it really asks to let go of everything around us. Not what my kids want, not what my husband wants, not what my boss wants, not what my parents expect me to do. It is really, what do I want? And how often do we ask this? Or how often do we get asked this?
No, yeah, beautiful. Very interesting.
Really great.
Yeah.
Nice.
Last question.
No.
Oh, no.
Shall we go to the food?
Oh, you want to do food?
Yeah, we're going to start
sorry. So when we started this podcast, we thought we want to have an item about food because I just love food. And sometimes we do it and sometimes we don't. But we have this beautiful jingle and we just like to have a little talk about food, and then we're going to do a closure. But do you have a question?
Well, Jenny, maybe when you have something you want to share with the people, a favorite dish.
Simple.
Very simple, with ingredients. What pops up in the fantasy at this moment?
I will disappoint you so much. If I could.
No.
I know, if I could, I would eat every day spaghetti. White spaghetti.
Oh, that's not a disappointment.
With garlic and some oil.
Yeah, with garlic and some oil, with some Parmesan.
Yeah, she's.
I wish I would have offered you this amazing Ayurveda khichdi dish, and I do that too. But if I could, I would have everyday pasta.
Yes. Okay. Good for you. Go
Great.
pasta.
Great.
Okay. Last question.
Yes.
Maybe without the food
Yeah,
music.
we'll fade it out. Fade it out. Yeah. Very slowly.
It's very slowly. Last question is, if you could give one simple advice to the people who are listening, what would that be?
I know. It is being true to ourselves. It's being true without any excuses and without feeling guilty. I know it's said so easy, but this work is so important and it's so worth it.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking us on a little journey in the magical morning method and for sharing this with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, listen to this one, eh? Can you do a little bit with your hair?
This is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Jenny.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Können wir auch ein bisschen Deutsch reden, noch nicht?
Ja, klar.
Ja, klar.
Oh, herrlich.
Maar ik kan ook een kleine beetje Nederlands.
Oh, geweldig.
Nederlands,
Super.
Engels, Duits.
Great, great. Well, thanks a lot.
Have a beautiful day.
Where can we find you?
Oh, good question.
Oh yeah, you can find me. I have a webpage, and this webpage is called soulflowglow.com.
Mhm.
You can also find me on the magicalmorningmethod.com.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
In Dutch and in English?
In English.
Okay, wonderful.
English.
Perfect.
What is your next lesson, your next place of teaching? Is it at Delight?
Yeah, I'm teaching online at the moment. I'm teaching morning yoga classes, also via Delight. You will also find the schedule on my webpage.
Okay.
And I'm giving the next Magical Morning online course in January.
Good.
So everyone who would like to start 2021, the best possible way.
2021.
Oh, that's nice.
2021, it's almost there.
Great.
Yeah. 20. Oh, wow. I love that date. Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks a lot,
Thank
Jen.
you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.